New York is apparently considering dispensing with this whole remnants of democracy thing by stripping Bernie Sanders away from the ballot. So that if you are a voter who's been looking forward to your ability to register your support for Bernie Sanders, you might not get that chance. Board of Elections co-chair Douglas Kellner and Commissioner Andrew Spano, both Democrats, will meet Wednesday to decide on whether or not to remove Sanders' name from the ballot. Kellner believes that a provision in the 2019-2020 budget saying the board may remove a candidate from the ballot if they make clear they are no longer seeking the office in question requires Sanders' removal. And a quote from Kellner says, "It's not very controversial that Bernie Sanders has suspended his campaign. I anticipate that we will be removing him." Thoughts, Emma?
Well, I really want to vote for Bernie Sanders. I live in New York City, not now, but I have been. And I want to be able to vote for him. My friends, my boyfriend, we all want to be able to cast our votes for Bernie Sanders because we want him to have the staying power and the capital to actually get concessions from the Biden campaign. But this is par for the course with the New York City Board of Elections and the amount of hoops that they try to get people to jump through to basically have any progressive agenda that comes through. Like I talked about this actually with then candidate Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez because she was having a really hard time getting on the ballot. The threshold was huge for her. Her district was drawn weirdly. There was a huge effort on behalf of the Democratic Party machine to kind of suppress insurgent candidates who were going up against the incumbents. And so they've always been this way in New York. There's a huge political machine behind New York City politics, and it's democratic, it's blue, yes, but it's institutionalized and very anti-progressive. And so that's part of what we're seeing here. If he's suspended his campaign, who cares if he's on the ballot? What's the point? Why can't Bernie Sanders be someone who everyone's going to be voting for, at least expressing their adoration and love for all of the policies that he pushed forward? Why would that be so threatening to you? And that's because maybe they're afraid that Biden's not going to generate that kind of enthusiasm, and it's going to look pretty bad when Bernie Sanders comes out on top.
Yeah, or at the very least, they know that Bernie Sanders would like to go into the convention with as much clout as possible to influence the direction that Biden's going to go in, and they don't want him to do that. And if that means that they get to tell, hundreds of thousands of voters at the very least, no, you don't need to participate, you're done, you don't get to register your support for this guy, then they're willing to do that. Even though, understand that this is all happening during a conversation about what can Joe Biden and the centrists do to get the support of progressives? I think they might be moving in the wrong direction, telling them to go F themselves right now. Many people are perfectly satisfied to eventually support Joe Biden if he's running against Donald Trump. But why are you going to needlessly give the middle finger to them now? They have been working for Bernie Sanders, supporting Bernie Sanders, donating to Bernie Sanders, rallying and organizing around Bernie Sanders. Let them vote for him. Many of them would then go on to support Joe Biden. But perhaps now a smaller number, a lower percentage will do that after they've been reminded once again of how little respect that the establishment Dems have for them, particularly in New York, which when I read about like machine politics from back, decades and decades ago, a lot of that is history, but not really. Some of it is still alive in New York. It is the most messed up system that is still allowed to exist in the Democratic Party.
And presided over by Andrew Cuomo. It's very important for him to maintain that system. We saw, the IDC, they've been disbanded, but that was a huge part of why Albany was so corrupt and remains fairly corrupt, although there have been some good progressives like Julia Salazar who have broken through. But no, New York City is still, and New York State, in fact, is still one of the most corrupt political machines in the entire nation. And it's run by Democrats. It's fully blue. And, that doesn't really help Democrats' arguments when they want to counter Trump's swamp narrative when state politics in New York is so swampy in itself.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.